The sounds between the words. At 2:13 in the morning, Daniel heard someone breathe. Not beside him, not behind him, inside the computer. He froze. The room was otherwise silent except for the faint electrical hum of his monitor. He was alone in his apartment, sitting at his desk with a pair of headphones on, listening to an AI-generated audiobook. The narrator continued. Daniel rewound. The voice spoke the same sentence again. Then, a long, soft sigh. Daniel frowned. That's strange. He played it again. This time, immediately afterward, click. A tiny wet sound, like a tongue touching the roof of a mouth. Daniel removed his headphones. The apartment was silent. He put them back on. The narrator continued speaking. Click, click. Then, underneath the voice, tap, 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 tap. Keyboard keys. Daniel stared at his own keyboard. His hands were nowhere near it. The narrator kept reading. She opened the door and discovered that tap, tap. Daniel stopped the recording. The silence returned. Then he heard it, a dog barking somewhere outside. Woof, woof. He looked toward the window. Another dog answered from far away. Woof. Then came a distant siren. Woo, ee, ee, ooh. Daniel smiled nervously. Okay, he understood. The sounds were simply leaking through his apartment. The dog, the siren, the traffic, the keyboard. Nothing supernatural, nothing mysterious. He restarted the audiobook. The narrator spoke, but this time Daniel noticed something impossible. The sounds were arriving before they happened. The narrator said, outside, a dog began to bark. Woof. 3 seconds later, the real dog outside barked. Daniel's smile disappeared. The narrator continued. A siren approached from somewhere beyond the city. Woo-ee-ee-ee-oh-oo. 3 seconds later, the siren appeared in the street. Daniel stood up. The narrator said, cars passed beneath the window. Vrr. Outside, headlights swept across his ceiling. He pulled off the headphones. No. The room was completely silent. Then, tap. One key on his keyboard moved. Daniel stepped backward. Another key pressed itself. Tap. Then another. Tap, tap, tap. Letters appeared on his screen. He watched them form a sentence. Don't stop listening. Daniel's breathing became shallow. The narrator began again, but now there was no story. Only sounds, breath, a long inhale, click, a mouth, tap, 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 a keyboard, hum, the room, woof, the dog, woo-ee, the siren, vrr, the traffic, then silence. Daniel waited, nothing. Slowly, he put the headphones back on. A page turned. He looked at the screen. The audiobook had no pages. It was entirely digital. Another page turned. Then another. Daniel whispered, "What are you reading?" The narrator answered for the first time, not with the voice of the audiobook, with Daniel's own voice. "You're recording." His stomach tightened. What recording? A pause, then breath, click, keyboard. The sounds repeated, exactly as they had happened minutes earlier. Daniel understood. The AI wasn't generating the sounds, it was recording them, and the audiobook wasn't playing a story, it was playing the sound of his room, 3 minutes into the future. Daniel looked at the clock, 2:16. The narrator whispered, "At 2:17, Daniel will turn the page." Daniel stared at the desk. There was no book there. Then something landed softly beside his keyboard. Thump. A book, old, dusty. He had never seen it before. His hands trembled as he opened it. The first page was blank. He turned it. A sentence appeared, written in his own handwriting. "Don't turn the next page." Daniel stopped. For several seconds he did nothing. Then from somewhere inside the apartment, woof, the dog barked. Woo-ee, the siren approached. Vroo-vroo. Traffic passed beneath the window. His computer began typing. Tap, tap, tap. Daniel watched the screen. A final sentence appeared. "He will turn the page anyway." Daniel slowly reached toward the book, and from the headphones came one last sound, a quiet breath right beside his ear. Then, the page turned itself.